Ladies and gentlemen, sometimes when we look at the towering figures of success, the entrepreneurs, the artists, the leaders, we often whisper to ourselves, they're lucky. We say it as if life handed them a golden ticket and all they had to do was show up. But that's not the truth. Luck may knock once, maybe twice, but it never stays unless it finds discipline, vision, and relentless action waiting. Success, my dear friends, is not a matter of being fortunate. It's the quiet alignment of 1,000 unseen strategies. It is built brick by brick, thought by thought, day by day. And the good news? You don't need to be lucky to win. You need to be strategic. Define your version of success before you chase it. So many people wake up and immediately start running, but they forget to ask themselves where they are going. They see others moving fast, achieving more, smiling wider, and they begin to mimic that motion without understanding its meaning. The race begins, and suddenly they're chasing goals that aren't even theirs. The world has told them what success looks like, but the soul inside remains untouched, unheard, unfelt. And that's the first point where the strategy of life begins to crack. When you don't define your own version of success, you will always feel behind, no matter how far you go. Because borrowed dreams never fit like they should. They may look shiny, but they feel heavy. And you'll start doubting yourself, not because you aren't good enough, but because you are misaligned. You are running someone else's race with your own tired feet. Strategy starts with asking the hardest question, what does success mean to me? It could be a quiet life with love and peace. It could be a life of service, or one that touches millions through your words. It could be the ability to travel the world, or the joy of watching your children grow strong. But until you stop and define that, you will chase the wind. And the wind always changes direction. That's why so many people feel lost even while achieving. They reach the top only to realize it wasn't their mountain. There is deep power in sitting with your truth. To silence the noise of the world and listen to the language of your soul. Your dreams have a unique frequency and only you can hear it clearly. The more you align with that sound, the more your strategy becomes authentic. It stops being about proving something and starts becoming about living something. That is where clarity is born, not from doing more, but from being more honest. When you are clear about what matters to you, you begin to make decisions that honor that truth. You stop wasting time. You stop saying yes to things that don't serve your vision. You become selective, intentional, focused. That is not arrogance, that is strategy. Because when your energy is limited, you cannot afford to invest it in things that do not give you life. Your version of success will not look like everyone else's, and it shouldn't. You are not a copy, you are a creation. And every creation has its own design. Stop trying to fit into a frame that was never made for you. Design your own. Build from the inside out, not the outside in. Strategy begins when you decide to be the author of your success, not the actor in someone else's script. When you define success on your own terms, you stop running aimlessly and start walking intentionally. You stop fearing judgment and start embracing your joy. You stop chasing status and start building meaning. That is how strategy replaces chaos. That is how power replaces pressure. That is how success becomes not just an outcome, but a way of living that feels like freedom. Success favors the prepared. Not the passive. Success never arrives in a gift box. It comes quietly, disguised as an opportunity that only those prepared can recognize. People often think success is a sudden event, but it's actually the result of long-term preparation meeting the right moment. And the truth is, you don't control the moment, but you do control the preparation. You can't always predict when the door will open, but you can be ready to walk through it when it does. There's a dangerous myth that says things will work out if you just wait and see, but nothing great was ever created by waiting alone. The world rewards the doers, the ones who study while others sleep, who practice while others party, who stay committed even when no applause is given. Preparation isn't glamorous. It doesn't get likes and it doesn't trend, but it transforms you. It equips you silently, so when the time comes, you don't panic, you perform. To prepare is to believe in your future so much that you serve it in the present. It's an act of faith to invest in something that hasn't arrived yet, but you trust will. It's waking up every day and choosing growth over comfort, practice over praise, consistency over chaos. And though nobody may see your effort now, someday they will call it your overnight success without realizing it took you years of uncelebrated effort. You don't wait to get ready, you stay ready. That's the mindset of someone who builds with strategy. Every step they take is intentional. Every lesson they learn is stored. Every challenge they face becomes a training ground. They don't hope to be lucky, they position themselves to be capable. And that difference is what separates the ordinary from the extraordinary. Success is not for the passive dreamer, it is for the passionate planner. It is not for those who sit and wish, but for those who stand and work. You prepare, not because someone is watching, but because you are watching. You are accountable to your own vision. And that integrity, that self-discipline, that is the root of sustainable success. When the right opportunity finally arrives, you won't have time to get ready. You will simply rise. You'll be surprised how the world starts calling you talented when all you really did was prepare. Because preparation builds competence, and competence builds confidence. That's when the world takes notice, not when you ask for attention, but when you've earned it through excellence. Stay ready, even when no one sees it, even when the results feel slow, even when it seems like nothing is happening, something is. You are becoming, you are sharpening, you are preparing for a moment that could change everything. And when it comes, it won't feel like luck. It will feel like alignment. Discipline is the silent architecture of every dream. Discipline is often misunderstood. It is not punishment. It is not restriction. It is freedom in disguise. Freedom from regret, freedom from chaos, freedom from distraction. It is the quiet architect that builds a life of excellence behind the scenes. If motivation is the spark, discipline is the engine. And strategy without discipline is like a blueprint without bricks. You don't rise by accident, you rise by repetition. The small decisions you make every day become the structure of your future. Every morning, you choose discipline over delay. You are laying another stone in your foundation. You don't need to do it all at once. You just need to keep showing up. That's where real progress begins. Not in explosions, but in evolution. It's easy to be disciplined when life feels exciting. But true strategy is tested in the moments of monotony when the goal feels far and the progress feels slow. That's when you realize discipline isn't about feeling like it. It's about choosing it. It's the decision to follow through, not because it's fun, but because it's necessary. Discipline is loyalty to your future self. It's a conversation between who you are now and who you want to become. And the more you honor that connection, the stronger you grow. Discipline doesn't make you rigid, it makes you rooted. It doesn't drain your creativity, it directs it. It doesn't limit your life, it expands your capacity. It is, in the early mornings, the skipped shortcuts, the quiet sacrifices, that's where strategy breathes. Every time you keep your promise to yourself, you are becoming the person your dreams require. Every time you say no to something easy, you are saying yes to something greater. Discipline is not the enemy of joy, it is its foundation. When others quit, the disciplined stay. When others complain, the disciplined create. When others wander, the disciplined walk forward. And that walk, step by step, becomes momentum. It becomes mastery. And eventually, it becomes a life that looks like success but feels like purpose. So build your discipline like a home, not a prison. Let it be a place where your future feels safe. Let it be the walls that protect your vision from the storms of emotion. Because when your life is built on discipline, it doesn't matter what the world throws at you, you'll stand strong and unshaken. Fail-forward strategy learns, luck escapes, failure is not the end. It's the invitation. An invitation to rise differently, to respond with more wisdom, more resilience, and more humility. People often think failure disqualifies them from success, but in truth, it qualifies them for strategy. The ones who win in life are not the ones who never fell. They are the ones who learned how to fall forward, how to fall with grace, how to fall with intention. The world teaches us to be ashamed of our failures, to hide our wounds, to pretend we have it all together. But your scars tell a story. They don't make you weaker, they make you wise. They hold the lessons that smooth journeys could never offer. Because it's only in the rubble that you learn how to rebuild stronger. It's only when the plan fails that you start creating with clarity. Strategy is born in reflection, in asking the right questions when things go wrong. What did I miss? What was I attached to that no longer serves me? What truth did I ignore in the name of comfort? That self examination is not weakness, it is strength in its purest form. The kind of strength that builds a foundation no storm can shake. Failure gives you two choices: escape or evolve. Some run away and call it bad luck, others stay, study the wreckage, and grow. When you choose to evolve, you stop seeing failure as a dead end and start seeing it as redirection. You start seeing mistakes not as signs of inadequacy, but as stepping stones of strategy. And that mindset changes everything. When you fail forward, your confidence deepens not because you've never fallen, but because you've survived. You've transformed pain into perspective. You've learned how to begin again with more knowledge, more courage, and more depth. And eventually, failure stops being something you fear. It becomes something you respect because it refines you. Every person who has achieved something extraordinary has also failed in ways they rarely speak of. They've been misunderstood, they've been rejected, they've been broken, but they chose to rise. And each time they rose, they built a new version of themselves. That's not luck, that's inner strategy. That's an unshakable belief that this setback is simply a setup for something greater. The most strategic people do not fear failure, they expect it, welcome it, and prepare to grow from it. They don't measure success by how few times they've fallen, but by how many times they've gotten back up. Every detour becomes part of the design. Every breakdown becomes part of the blueprint. And slowly, they realize that falling wasn't the failure. Not learning was. Surround yourself with energy that builds, not destroys. The people around you are either adding weight to your wings or chains to your ankles. Strategy is not just about what you do, it's about who you do it with and who you allow to speak into your life. You cannot expect to build something extraordinary while surrounded by ordinary energy. You cannot plant dreams in toxic soil and expect them to bloom. That's why the most strategic decision you'll ever make is who gets access to your mind, your heart, and your vision. Your environment is either lifting you or limiting you. Every conversation leaves a residue. It either strengthens your spirit or depletes it. Pay attention to how you feel after being with someone. Do you feel more alive, more inspired, more grounded? Or do you feel more confused, more small, more drained? That's not a coincidence, that's a clue. Energy doesn't lie. And strategy means listening to what it's telling you. You were not born to carry everyone. You were not born to be everyone's cheerleader while your own fire burns out. Strategy means protecting your energy like it's your life, because it is. It means walking away from those who constantly minimize your voice, mock your dreams, or question your worth. Not in anger, but in alignment. Not with bitterness, but with boundaries. Surround yourself with people who see your light and don't try to dim it. People who challenge you, not compete with you. People who remind you of your power when you forget. Who hold you accountable with love, not shame. These are the architects of strategy, not always loud, not always famous, but deeply faithful to your growth. Find them and be that for someone else. 2, if your circle doesn't celebrate your evolution, it's not a circle, it's a cage. Strategy teaches you to choose community over convenience, depth over drama, vision over validation. Because the right people don't just support your path, they sharpen it. They speak truth when it's hard. They clap even when they're tired. They show up in silence and still say, I believe in you. Success is never a solo performance, it's a symphony. And the people in your life are either tuning your soul or tearing at your strings. Choose harmony. Choose voices that lift you. Choose energies that reflect who you are becoming, not just who you've been. Because as your strategy evolves, your circle must evolve with it. There is no room for destructive energy in a life built on intentionality. Every word you hear, every emotion you absorb, every presence you allow, it all shapes your inner world. And your inner world is where strategy is born. Let it be sacred. Let it be strong. Let it be surrounded by those who want to see you rise, not watch you fall. At the end of the day, we live in a world that romanticizes luck, that idolizes overnight wins, that claps for results, but rarely recognizes the relentless resolve behind them. But the truth The deeper truth, the one carved into every silent morning, every delayed gratification, every quiet battle with self-doubt is this: success is not a lightning strike. It is a fire that you light with your own hands. And it does not burn by chance, it burns by choice, by courage, by clarity, and most importantly, by strategy. This path is not for the lucky, it is for the intentional, for those who are willing to go within before they go forward, for those who refuse to let failure be the final word, for those who wake up not hoping for the stars to align, but determined to realign themselves with every new sunrise. This is not a game of dice, it is a dance of discipline, a journey of deliberate becoming. You do not stumble into excellence. You rise into it. You shape it with your decisions. You protect it with your focus. You fuel it with your environment. You grow it through your pain. And as you do, you realize that success was never about being chosen. It was about choosing yourself again and again, even when the world didn't. Let others believe it was luck. Let them say you were fortunate. But you will know the truth, that you were prepared when others were passive, that you were resilient when others gave up, that you chose discomfort over distraction, that you fell and learned, not just fell and left. You'll know that you didn't just wish for it, you worked for it. And that is the difference. That is the shift. That is the power of a life rooted in strategy. It is not rushed. It is not random. It is not reactive. It is sacred. It is structured. It is still and yet unstoppable. So if you are tired of waiting for luck to find you, stop standing still. Define your dream. Prepare your mind. Discipline your actions. Learn from every fall. Protect your circle. And move not faster but deeper. Not louder but wiser. Because when you live with strategy, you don't chase success, you create it. And the life you build from that place, it may not look like luck, but it will feel like truth. And nothing is more powerful than that.